Welcome to another episode of the Retrodom podcast. Today I have a guest with me called Denholm Pepper. How we doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Jeff. Thanks for having me back. Wheeling me out of the basement.
What have you been doing with yourself?
Our, usual boss. Watching films, writing about films, talking about films. Yeah, it's all good.
So, can you tell us a bit more about that? Like, what do you do with writing films and that?
Well, I guess the main revenue is from the blog, Velvet Cinephile, where I just review the new releases, including today's Fablemans with Steven Spielberg. Um, Occasionally I do podcasts once a year. Um, yeah, and just love talking about all things movie related.
Ah, brilliant. So it's more just like a general like review sort of
Yeah,
site.
yeah. I don't really delve into much of the older what's it essays and whatnot. You know what I mean? I used to occasionally, but I just I don't really have much. I, well, I don't have really the stamina for it, and I don't really have the interest for it. So stick to what I know, which is just review a film.
Okay. So I just thought,
Maybe I should do more. Maybe I should start doing the old essays again, but we'll see. Yeah.
if you do, I'd like to let's give some of a read. So with someone who knows quite a bit about films and probably like your mental film library is well, where I know where well exceeds mine. I just thought, all right,
Cheers, mate.
why not talk about like something like satire, like film satire, satire on TV, that sort of thing. Like, what is satire?
Satire. Um, I don't know the dictionary definition, but to me, it's anything that's sort of critical, but in a mocking sort of way. It's usually you know, ironic, sarcastic, uh, sardonic. Usually, more often than not, punching up as opposed to punching down. Uh, yeah, yeah, that kind of thing. Obviously, satire is not just strictly related to films. Obviously, the old newspaper cartoons and whatnot, and yeah.
Would you say it has to be political?
Oh no, no, but it's usually targeted at society in general, really. But it can be everything. Art is a big one, particularly like the sort of those bougie, pretentious, like oh, what was that film? Came out a few years ago. Is it The Square? Ruben Östlund. He did a film. He did one recently. Triangle of Sadness. Um, that's like a prime example of a sort of those jet black comedy satires, which
Okay.
I think The Square was all about the art world, sort of the critical snobs and all of that, whereas Triangle of Sadness is just full on eat the rich. Do you know what I mean? It goes like full on to the point where it goes oh, what's that story? Lord of the Flies.
So is it saying the quiet part out loud? That's
Definitely in Triangle of Sadness. Definitely, most definitely. It wears like its satirical flavor on its sleeve. Do you know what I mean? For all to see. Then again, I think the Square did as well, but it's been a few years since I've seen that film. But been quite a few of them recently because they had Triangle of Sadness and The Menu with Ray Fiennes. Similar thing, except it's kind of like a one of those Agatha Christie style horror thriller but again, it's the same principle as Triangle of Sadness. Eat the rich. Let's eviscerate them Saw style.
So it means eat the rich quite literally.
In the case of the menu, yeah, 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 yeah. Incidentally, I when I saw the menu, it reminded me of another film, which this is just purely digression, but it's a film I'd never heard of before, believe it or not. It's called The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. It's a terrible title, but the film's really good. It's sort of set in a restaurant, and it's like attacking like the Thatcherite government at the time, because it was a British film made in 1989. So
Mm.
it was all about, well, the actual film itself is all about like gangsters and cannibals and stuff, but the subtext apparently is all about the poll tax. So, but yeah, I digress.
No, we think of the Thatcher government. First thing you think about is cannibalism.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Well, it's that whole thing of like me first, you know what I mean, above everybody else, that sort of mentality.
Mm. So does the target of any satire piece have to be like explicit? Like let's say for example, Starship Troopers, you it's meant to be a satire piece satirizing fascism,
Yeah,
but a lot of people when they watch Starship Troopers,
yeah,
that sort of like went over their head, and then when Paul Verhoeven went back to the Netherlands,
yeah.
people started thinking that he was a fascist.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about. That's what I was about to say. I don't know if it was necessarily they went over their heads. I think they just got the wrong end of the stick, and it was like his satire. It was like, because the whole point of like Starship Troopers is that it's so over the top to the point of it's cartoony. But I think a lot of people misinterpret it as being like, oh, he actually agrees with the sort of excuse me, the what's the word, fascistic um um the fascistic sentiments of the film, and they thought like, oh, he actually he sympathizes with the cause. When that's not the case at all, but that's how people interpret it, because which I guess is understandable. But he was always obviously satirizing that aspect. Yeah,
Maybe it's a language thing that in English it may read as
yeah,
um
very well possible, because obviously he's Dutch, isn't he, Paul Verhoeven? So his frame of reference and just his style of storytelling to a mainstream American Western audience, yeah, maybe there is like lost in translation.
yeah, because that was his, is it fifth English language film? Because he had Robocop, Total
Uh,
Recall, Basic Instinct, Showgirls, and Starship Troopers,
yeah,
and then he went back to the Netherlands. So
yeah, he did Flesh and Blood. That was his English language film. It's like a medieval romp with Rutger Hauer from Blade Runner, Robocop, Total Recall, Showgirls, and then Starship Troopers, and then like you say, he went back to the Netherlands, and well, he went to the Netherlands, and then it was like France as well, because he did L, and yeah, so yeah, he's floating around Europe somewhere.
ah, but yeah,
So basically, this film like sent him packing. This film sent him back into exile.
oh, it's a shame because I mean, it had a load of sequels, but they just weren't like the
Boy,
same.
did it! More sequels than Hellraiser. But yeah, because when did it come out? 97.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel the thing is, I feel like if that film was made today, it probably would succeed. I could be talking total nonsense there, but that's what I thought.
I think it would do well on streaming. If it's a cinema thing, I think people would be like, I don't
Oh
know,
yeah,
a big
yeah,
spectacle, yeah, but people would be like, like general
yeah.
audiences would be a bit.
tepid, which I think they were at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wasn't there, obviously,
Oh.
but yeah, I think from everything that I've read and whatnot, yeah, it's weird though as well because it's you think it would do well, wouldn't you? Because big guns, aliens. I mean, we literally had aliens like 10 years before. The James Cameron film, and it's basically the same film, apart from James Cameron's film doesn't go into the whole subtext of the book. So yeah, the original book, that is the Starship Troopers one.
I thought it was a bit like All Quiet on the Western Front, but with a happy ending.
It basically is that, isn't it? It's that whole because they go through like the academy and stuff, and then they're on the front lines. Yeah, but it's like a sort of perversion of All Quiet on the Western Front, I suppose.
Yeah. Second on Verhoeven, Robocop.
Yay! Great film.
Mm. That you could have like the film like work perfectly fine without like the news segments in, but
Yeah,
those like not only do they break it up, like outpace it out a bit, but it just I don't know, it's almost surreal.
well, it adds to the world, doesn't it? It's all about the world building because that's all it really tells you, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with the actual narrative, but it's telling you about the wider world, isn't it? I know it's even more. I think in the original script, it's even more overt because they talk about you know going to war with Mexico and stuff, and I think like Clint Eastwood's the president or something like that, like Stallone the president or something. You know, it's weird though how people like Robocop but can't like Starship Troopers, but they're basically the same thematically. That is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it was basically just privatization of the police, which
In Detroit as well, which
yeah.
suffered heavily under the Reagan administration and whatnot. But I mean, they amp it up even further in the sequel, which Verhoeven didn't do. But because I think, because it's funny because it's not just the news segments, but it's also like the commercials as well. And
Oh.
there's ones that I always thought were in RoboCop, but they're actually in RoboCop 2. Like there's one with like a some sort of sun tanning lotion or something. I think what was that? I think this one is in the first RoboCop, but it's the Ford SUX. Ford sucks. Oh, it's like that one. But yeah, it's it's RoboCop's a satirical masterwork, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm. Oh,
But
isn't that
all of his films have a satirical flavor, really. I think even his native ones.
what's the satirical nature of something like Showgirls?
Well, I think in Showgirls, it's just like I don't know if maybe it is satire, but just the that industry, really, isn't it? The sort of seedy nature of it. But in Showgirls, it's interesting because like I saw one of these like video essay people, and I don't want to take the lady's words out of context. I don't, well, I can't anyway because I don't remember who said it, but um, she said something to the effect that Paul Verhoeven loves women too much, and so in like Showgirls, it's like the women have all the power, like to such like a mythical degree, even though they're in an industry which could be demeaning to them, but he somehow makes it empowering. But I don't know. I've only seen Showgirls once anyway, and I didn't see it till I was 16 because it was one of them much maligned, like heavily derided films. But I really liked it. I
Eh,
thought,
I don't think it deserves the hate. That
no, no,
maybe
no.
the like the whole thing with the industry there's a matter of perspective, like how we look back at the 60s with miniskirts and think that oh yeah, they're just there to show off women's bodies and like this is extremely sexist or whatever. But at the time, miniskirts were
Liberating.
yeah, a sign of
Yeah,
liberation, that it was either like women, you need to be in like long skirts, cover up those legs, but short skirts were like, no, my body, my choice sort of thing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was like
For them ankles. Yeah.
so it was like speaking to power, punching up sort of thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So could
Absolutely.
showgirls be that sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, so what about if the message of satire sort of gets like lost in translation, or that the people that you're supposed to be criticizing don't realize it's satire, and then take it to be like more ammunition for their cause?
Well, that just becomes frustrating, really, doesn't it, on the part of the artist and the creator? Because I think when people set out to make satire, they want to provoke reactions and whatnot. They want to provoke, or at the very least, provoke discussion and debate. And if the reality doesn't meet expectations, it can be frustrating for them. I think that happened with it wasn't a satire, it was more of an allegorical thing, but The Prisoner, the TV show from the 60s with Patrick McGoohan. I saw someone asked him like, how did you feel about the reaction amongst politicians to the TV show? And he said, I don't think the reactions were strong enough, unfortunately. And I think that pretty much sums it up, really.
Okay, so was it more like criticizing the people of the day, and uh,
Well,
when they saw it, it's just like, no.
I mean, it's difficult with The Prisoner because The Prisoner was all about crikey, it criticised everything really. It criticised everything in contemporary life when it was made in 1967. It was because it sort of was all about that sort of Orwellian type of thing of mass media and what's the word, surveillance, and it was like an allegory for that because he was Patrick McGoohan played this character whose name's never revealed. He's just called by number six, and that's part of the thing as well. Is that he says like, "I'm a man, not a number," and that sort of thing, sort of lamenting against the system, and he can't leave the village, and that's just the whole premise of the show is that he wants to leave, but they won't let him, and it's all about being institutionalized and all of that. Um, but yeah, The Prisoner's really good for if you're into sort of allegory and sort of stuff with deeper meanings. But yeah, apparently it was during like one of them Q&As because The Prisoner created this massive cult following. Um, and someone because one of his primary goals was to sort of elicit anger amongst politicians of the day, and it apparently just didn't. But then again, he also followed that up by saying that they were the sort of people that wouldn't understand The Prisoner anyway. I don't know what he means by that, but yeah,
If you want to anger politicians nowadays, it's easier than ever. Uh, Easier than
yeah,
ever.
yeah, 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 true.
Um, what about something like, say, Borat? First film of the like it's satire, it's satirizing sort of like racism in the US by using Middle Eastern and Russian stereotypes sort of like bundled into one.
Yeah,
But at the time, like when it came out, I think some people didn't quite know that it was poking fun at that, but
uh-huh.
instead using that as sort of ammunition to sort of like fuel their prejudice before.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it?
So when the second film came out in 2020,
Yeah,
that's probably a case of the quiet part being spoken a bit louder, because I
yeah,
know it's even reviews online of people saying, I absolutely love the first film. but the second film is all politics now. I can't like agree with this, and it's like
Clearly weren't paying attention to the first film. Well, they've got short memories. Thing is, though, with like the first Borat, I I don't know if this is true, but I don't know how well known Sacha Baron Cohen was known in the Borat character to Americans. So they probably thought it was real. And then the second one, because of his name, you know, is more widely recognized, and he's been in more stuff as Sacha Baron Cohen as well. You know, because you know Borat is before he was in like Hugo and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of like, so they probably went into Borat, the first film that is, thinking that it genuinely was like a documentary, not a mockumentary. And then there comes the second one, they know that it's a narrative. So, and plus, you know, they just know that it's going to get memed.
Yeah, but it's a bit more explicit, like it especially targeted sort of that QAnon sort of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
culture there, which obviously didn't really respond too well to that.
no.
Which,
You say that like I should be surprised.
well, no, like you catch Rudy Giuliani with, but pretty well with his and down his trousers. Like, obviously, he's not going
Yeah,
to respond too well to that. Like, but then again, he shouldn't have done it. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like, you only got yourself to blame. How dare you
yeah,
catch me doing this thing? Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a. I did like that. I did like the second Borat film though, because it kind of just thought, ah, fuck it, we'll just go full on with it.
When I joined the production, that they started like early 2020, but then lockdown happened, and it was like it was happening as they were filming it, so they just
Oh
rolled with
yeah,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because there's a massive gap as well between the first Borat and the second one as well. So the world's changed, you know. I don't know what the gap is because I don't know when the first Borat film came out. Was it 2000?
2006.
Something like that, 2006, 2007. Yeah, yeah. So we've gone, you know, so you've gone from like the George Bush administration to, I guess at the time, it would have been Donald, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they made a
So,
point to release it just like a month before the election.
yeah, perfect. Convenient timing, I'm
Do
sure.
you think it influenced the election?
Nah, no, I don't think so. I don't think things like that do. Maybe it's me being cynical. I don't actually think things like that do influence stuff like elections. I could be wrong. I've got no metric to judge that on. I just don't think it does. I don't think know if it ever has either. Do you know what I mean? I think if you'd have done basically the same film like 50 years ago, I don't think anyone would have thought, well, I'm definitely not gonna vote Nixon now. I think they still would have done it either way.
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but I'm inclined to think that people are sort of set in their ways, so to speak.
Got to target those swing voters.
Uh, uh,
Well,
maybe I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I don't. I think if you go in to a film with one mindset, as in like politically, and you come out with a totally different one, I think that's very rare. I think that's very rare.
will it only reinforce opinion as opposed to change it?
Maybe it does. Maybe it does because I think it's a really crap analogy, so I apologize in advance. But say if like I bought an Xbox, you bought a PS5, and you told me that the Xbox is crap, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, he's actually right. No, I'm gonna like reinforce. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna buy it back, aren't I? Because I've made that purchase. Do you know what I mean? Like I've sold myself to that product, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So
I guess it goes a bit deeper because if I show you like objective like metrics to show why one is better than the other,
yeah,
that's almost it's not just a rebuttal or an attack on your point of view. it's an attack on you.
Yeah.
So you respond more like hostile towards it, which is probably why I
Yeah.
think people responded more hostile to the second Borat.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's not just in that though as well. It's like what was that film came out the Blumhouse film, the one that got banned. Was it The Hunt?
Banned
It
in
was
the
about
UK.
no, I don't think it really got banned, but it was one of them like, oh, it's so like, it's it's so hot that no one dare touch it. It was about these characters who were um basically um optically, superficially looked like traditional Trump supporters, and they just went around killing people. So it was that sort of thing, and it was considered like too politically hot. It did get distributed. It was all like faff anyway because the film was naff, so it was all like hot air. But you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. Uh, but loads of films did it during that time. Like one of the Purge movies did it. You know,
Was it right off the heels of the January 6th things?
oh no, this is even before the January 6th
Oh,
one. You'd think there'd be more. You'd think there'd be more, wouldn't you? To be honest, I was thinking about that, but yeah.
then we talk about like individual politicians that they obviously don't like the mick being taken out of them. Like the thing about that, like, have I got news for you? It's always
Yeah.
like the source of criticism from like
Excuse me.
nah, it's all right. From other people and especially like the government whenever they feel that they have been unfairly biased against them.
Yeah,
Which to me it just seems weird because you're the government,
yeah,
you're the one making all the decisions that
yeah,
affect us. So
yeah,
in to borrow your words, the punching up
yeah,
and that also offers a bit of a conflict of interest because it's the government that's responsible for the funding of the BBC, like distribution of the TV license,
yeah.
which I don't know that to me doesn't really sit well, like with the bureaucracy of the TV license. But yeah, it just seems to be like the BBC get like attacks from every single angle. That you're biased against us. You're too pro these people. Like if you go to the Wikipedia page and you go for like controversies of the BBC, I think that has its own page. But you scroll
Oh yeah,
down, oh yeah, but you scroll down, it's like anti-Muslim bias, pro-Muslim bias,
that's
anti-Catholic bias,
yeah, that's the
pro-Catholic bias.
thing.
It's like which one?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that actually because there are like people that think it's like too lib, and then there's people that think it's not liberal enough, and it's like I don't know which one. I don't know which one to believe. I think you're all talking nonsense. You heard it a lot when Uh, I mean, you hear it in individual newscasts and whatnot, but you hear it especially in like their fiction stuff. Like the Doctor Who one's a massive one
Oh,
because like I said, some people think it's way too lib and PC, and others think it's not near enough. So you can't
but
satisfy any of them.
it's more a reflection of their own bias. But I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Yeah, it is.
I guess one thing to say is that vast majority of the print media in the UK is right leaning.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so in comparison, the BBC looks to be more left wing because they're not as right wing or sensationalist as all those others.
yeah. It's because the balance is, you know, tilted in one favor.
Also, don't have I don't know what the exact wording of the remit is, but they're supposed to be balanced.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be non-bias.
True.
But yeah, I
But
have to have a
the
bias.
balance thing is sometimes leads them to shoot themselves in the foot, because I remember there was a big controversy. I think it was on the radio actually, because of the BBC, balancing principles, for want of a better word. They had this thing about climate change, but because of those rules, they had to put on someone who was anti-climate change. And it's
Let me
kind of just
guess.
like, well, you just sort of shot yourself in the foot there, haven't you?
Let me guess. Were they talking out their arse?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't remember it because this was like a few years ago, probably even more to be honest. But I do remember that at the time, and I just remember sort of like looking with my head cocked to the side and an eyebrow slightly raised, and just a look of perplexion on my face.
Oh, gotta make sure the climate deniers feel represented.
Yeah, they're very sensitive, that demographic.
Ugh. But yeah, you got loads of people talking about like how they keep ragging on us like the Conservative Party like saying they keep ragging on us, we're gonna limit your funding, or all right, have I got news for you? You need to be more right leaning now in order to be more balanced. And it's like, well, there are a group of comedians punching up to power.
Yeah. What do you mean they need more right-wing people? And they literally had a former prime minister as the host.
And a future prime minister as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, Bojo. Yeah,
Yeah. And even I think the producers like apologized for building up his, well, helping to build up his public reputation, considering his premiership.
yeah, that is interesting. Because at the time, I guess he would have been mayor, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Or
Yeah, yeah.
was he the foreign secretary?
I don't know. I'm sure they had him on multiple times anyway. I'm sure he was on. Um, I'm sure he was on during his mayoralship, if that's even the right word.
Hmm.
Same with Top Gear. He was on. He was on the star in a reasonably priced car.
You also had who's the Lib Dem man who was
Nick Clegg.
yeah, him. Yeah, he was a host on there shortly after the 2015 election.
God, what when he was totally irrelevant
Yeah.
after he'd sold his soul. Yeah,
And then I don't think he
I'm
goes to
sure
work for
that got the
Facebook now.
viewers in.
Yeah, it's just seems to be like the the rehabilitation or the habilitation of like future and past politicians. It's like
Oh, when they go on these like tours of apology and whatnot.
it's like I'm a real person. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm not a Dickensian sociopath.
yeah, yeah. It's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's more depressing, the fact that Nick Clegg went on there after the 2015, or just the number of Lib Dem politicians in Parliament there is today.
What being high or low? I haven't really noticed
Oh,
Lib
mate,
Dem in the past few
it's
years.
it's dire because they used to be like the third party, but now they're just like, I think there's barely a dozen in there now.
SNP is the third, isn't it? But they're all in
Yeah, yeah,
Scotland.
yeah, exactly. So
So, oh, 2024, here we come.
yeah, wonderful.
Speaking of that, Spitting Image, is that owned by the BBC? I can't quite remember.
No ITV in it.
Okay, so they're not bound by the same impartiality sort of
Oh God, no.
thing.
But they
Oh,
did
okay.
though. They did, because that was the beauty of the old Spitting Image, and the newer one, albeit I would argue to a lesser extent. But the old one was certainly like, it took the beauty of the old Spitting Image was that it took the piss out of everyone, alive or dead, left or right, white, black, anything. If you were breathing spit, they probably took the piss out of me, and I wasn't even born yet.
Because I know at the time, like for the old stuff, those Thatcher, Reagan, they were like the main like punching bags. But
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, there's definitely quite a few more. In fact, if you go to the more recent times, obviously you have like your big ones like your Bidens, your Trumps, your Johnsons, your Sunaks. But you also get
yeah,
other people like say like Greta Thunberg, that she's
yeah. But it's just
satirized
wide.
a bit.
But it's just like wider celebrity culture as well into
Yeah. That's
like your Ed Sheerans and stuff. See,
mm,
I'm down with the kids. I know who Ed Sheeran. I mean, to be fair, the old Spitting Image did that as well. Like they took the piss out of like Bruce Springsteen and Michael Jackson and whatnot. But again, like the old Spitting Image did everything. You know, it was during like the time of apartheid in South Africa.
mm.
Cold War was still going. Yeah, they were ruthless. They were ruthless back in the day, and they did songs and all. Like Santa Claus is on the dole. I've never met a nice South African. Yeah, it's all good stuff. I mean, they literally had a skit where like Margaret Thatcher's next door neighbor was Hitler. So,
Oh.
well, they never said it was Hitler, but it was Hitler. If it smells like dog shit if it smells like dog shit and it looks like dog shit, it's probably dog shit. So it was Hitler.
Oh, didn't Margaret Thatcher come back and I don't know, there's this weird seance scene in one of the new spitting images and they brought it back. So they
Yeah,
are, I guess they're doing sort of like similar things.
yeah, yeah, with the original actor as well. But that was the thing about the old Spain image was apparently as the years went on, as the seasons went on, they made her more and more terrifying. But the creators of the show claim that that actually helped her popularity.
But the real Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because they claim that because with each passing season, because it started in '84 and she was in power for the next 6 years. Sorry, because it was right after the '83 election. And with each passing season, they made her more and more witch-like and sepulchral and hideous. To the point where towards the end they portrayed her as being like Caligula and stuff like that. And the puppeteers behind it claim that he was actually so over the top that he actually helped her in the eyes of the public. Pretty backwards, isn't it?
Well,
That and the fact that they took the piss out of Labour as well, so they were balanced.
yeah, well they didn't really do too well back then, did they, in the 80s?
No, no, they didn't really help themselves either. So yeah,
Mm.
I like Spoon Image though. It's really funny. I think the problem is though, it's that because the thing is with a lot of satire, it's sort of criticizing the here and now. So some of the references may be, a bit obscure for modern viewers, but I think the broad strokes, uh, still for better or worse, timely.
I guess the turnaround also has to be quite quick, like especially nowadays when things happen so quickly.
Quick,
Like
yeah.
with Trust, 44 days. Like
Oh God, yeah, 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 yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. I'd never really thought about that, but yeah.
oh, 44 days. Use that as a unit of measurement. One Trust.
God, there's days when I'm like depressed and I think, I'm not achieving much. And then I look at that statistic and I think, no, I'm actually doing all right. You know what I mean?
Oh, then again, like if you really don't like people taking the mickey out of you when you're holding these high positions, like you could always quit. You could get a proper
Yeah,
job.
probably shouldn't seek office because that is the thing, though. To be fair, like, it is part and parcel with the territory into it, is that you can't really you can't be in the public eye and be mysterious, can you? So you're always going to be open to criticism, and if you can't take criticism, you shouldn't be in the public eye. It's that simple, really, isn't it?
How do you undo being in the public eye?
Um, how do you undo it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Go to jail. I don't know. Uh,
Well, hasn't really
I mean,
worked for Andrew
I
Tate, is
mean,
it?
the only real example I can think of is like the royal family. Is that they're there, but there's always like a sort of brick wall between you and them. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's changed now, but that was certainly the case when I was brought up.
So like when Harry and Meghan were trying to be not part of the royal family anymore.
That's when like the the sheen sort of shattered, so to speak. I don't think it shattered. Thing is, I don't really follow that sort of thing anyway, but mm, yeah, I don't know if maybe it has affected it more than I give it credit for, but
It's
yeah.
definitely given the right-wing tabloids something to print about for the next couple of years, at
I
least.
know, Christ, they won't stop talking about it. Jesus,
Hmm.
where's me down? But that's an example. That's the only example I can think of where you can be in the public eye, but you're not really open to. Although they have been, to be fair. I mean, The Crown focuses on some of that. The Netflix TV show Spitting Image did as well, because obviously the Queen. It would have been quite groundbreaking, I suppose, the Queen being the main character in the old Spitting Image and the royal family and whatnot.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, yeah. But yeah, the moral of the story is don't be famous.
All right, let's say someone, let's say Jeremy Corbyn,
Yep,
who, regardless of what you think of like him and his policies, like he was leader of the Labour Party, and now he's currently an MP now.
yep,
So
yep.
his public presence has greatly diminished, and you don't really hear about him in the press. Like the only times you do hear about him is when said right-wing tabloids decide to spread lies that the MPs themselves have told, which has
Yeah,
happened. But
yeah.
eh, can MPs really step back out of the public eye? Can they really do that proper? Like be
No, I
rehabilitated
don't.
into public?
Maybe they can do because Matt Hancock did a fairly good job, didn't he?
Did he?
I'm a celeb.
Oh yeah, but I think that went down like a lead balloon.
I don't know. I saw some people were thinking, oh, he's all right. I think it can be done, but it's a hard task. I mean, you're
Hmm.
never gonna once you're in the public eye, you can never sort of go out because they'll always bring them back for like documentaries. They're gonna write books. Do you know what I mean? So, uh, can I think of an example where I can't where someone's reputation has been salvaged? No, I can't think so.
Or at least has disappeared into the crowd. Oh, here's
David
one.
Cameron. Well, you don't hear out from him, do you?
No, but if you see him, you're like, oh yeah, that's David Cameron. He's known for X,
Oh,
Y, and
oh
Z.
yeah, 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 yeah. But that's one because he sort of just took the money and run, didn't he? He committed a literal hit and run.
Oh, and he always pops up to voice his unwarranted opinion whenever something's happening.
Yeah, whenever Sky News is like, oh, we've got a former prime minister on the line. Um, yeah, I mean, most of them just sort of become irrelevant, really, don't they?
Jimmy Carter.
The president,
Yeah, doesn't he teach Sunday school nowadays?
well, he's a good one actually because he does all that stuff for like charity work, doesn't he? In fact, I think he's generally regarded as like his post presidency is is like he's more well known for stuff he's done outside of being president than he did during presidency. Because I
Only
think
had
he
one
like
term.
yeah, yeah, yeah. To be fair, though, he had a lot on his plate because of the Iranian hostage situation, which he did handle badly. To be fair, but he got unfair. He was unfairly labelled as like a bad president when really he was just unlucky. Do you know what I mean? But he did some good work. He destroyed guinea worm, that disease in one of the African nations, completely eradicated it. It's gone through his charity work in the early 2000s. So he's had of all the presidents, he's like had the best like post presidency life, whereas most of them just write books, don't they?
Write books,
Go on
make
or go on
speeches.
trial.
Yeah.
Lawsuits, stuff like that.
Then again, I guess if you say like Trump or Biden, they were old, like proper old when they became president. Let's say someone like Obama, who was relatively young.
Yeah, Obama. I mean, Obama's just done the book, hasn't he? So yeah,
Yeah. Like, what's he? Is he going to do anything else political or?
I don't know. I don't know. Can you do that if you're? I don't think you really do because it's kind of like the top of the mountain, really, isn't it? If you've done your 2 terms, why bother? You ain't gonna. Yeah, it's hard to like go back to an old TV once you've got like a HD 4K one into it. So in the case of like politics, why would you go back to being a senator when you've been president? Because it's different. In Britain, like if you're prime minister, you resign, you just go back to the back benches.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, which is what Liz Truss did. They just said to back there.
Unless you're Vladimir
Theresa
Putin.
May, same thing.
If you're Vladimir Putin, if your president terms run out, you just become prime minister.
Exactly.
I then become president again, which
Yeah, exactly.
mm,
See, this is educational, folks.
you can't break the rules if you make them up as you go along.
Exactly. I think Erdogan did the same thing. The Turkish leader served as president, then became prime minister, went back to president.
Hmm.
Genius.
Yeah.
I don't condone that, by the way.
No, well,
I don't endorse this, but I admire the shithousery.
well, there's plenty of it to go around, isn't there?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like in somewhere like Russia, which is probably, to be charitable, probably not the best place to live about now
You think?
or ever. Like, come to think of it, but um,
Yeah. Have they ever had it good?
what would satire look like there, or is it more just like, how dare you insult the great
Is
president?
satire even a thing in Russia? Because I think it's possible, but it has to be like I think usually they mask it through like surrealism stuff, don't they? I think that's what they did during like the Spanish, during the time of like Franco in Spain. It was
Mm.
like we can't criticize the government, so we'll just make really weird films that are so subtle and so weird that no one will pick up on it.
Well,
So yeah, I don't know if yeah, that's the only way they sort of get by the censors, isn't it? If you do like really sort of avant-garde sort of stuff.
didn't Zelensky come to the public eye through like a comedy piece where he became
Yeah, he was like
uh,
a comedian, wasn't he? An actor.
yeah, he played a Ukrainian film where he played in a Ukrainian film where he became it's the president, is it? Isn't it? Or the prime minister?
Yeah, an example of art imitating life into
Which you could argue is a good way to build your public image. Like it
yeah,
definitely
it's
did. It
good
definitely
training, isn't it?
it
Yeah,
didn't do any harm to his
like
public
we should just
reputation.
like make Morgan Freeman the president because he's played the president so often. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it, I wouldn't even attempt to make satire in sort of totalitarian uh regimes and countries because I don't want to get blown up or poisoned. Yeah. So yeah.
Freedom of speech, freedom. That's probably the consequence of freedom of speech. If you're going to grant it to everyone, someone somewhere is going to say something you don't like. What do? Do you have an absolute insecure meltdown and have someone poisoned, or have someone slip over in the shower?
Or send some, guys with strong accents to talk to you. Um,
Or do you just suck it up and like, all right, no, I'm not going to overcompensate for any anything. That I'm just gonna.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is just not react. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, really. Say nothing. But as in reacting to something that is, But yeah, but freedom of the speech also means the freedom to be stupid. So, you know.
Yeah, probably like the QAnon sort of stuff before. Like, yeah, you have the
Yeah,
freedom
because
to
I
talk
think
about it.
well, yeah, because I remember. Do you remember them Louis Theroux documentaries about those that family, the Westboro Baptist Church? I
Or
think like under they used to like picket the funerals of like gay soldiers,
yeah,
and I think under the First Amendment they were allowed to do it. It was like, hey, it's shitty, but we don't like it, but they are allowed to do it under the law.
and then there was the counter protests, basically targeting the Westboro Baptist Church in particular.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they were like, "Oh no, we don't like that. Don't like that." It's like, well, tough.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's like it just opens up cans of worms, doesn't it? I think there was a big Supreme Court case. I think it was in the 90s about flag burning, and obviously everyone hated the idea of burning flags. But the Supreme Court said, we don't like it, but they are allowed to do it. So there you go.
Yeah, the First Amendment has been sort of fetishized to the
Well,
point where people don't know what it actually says.
thing is, it was written in the 18th century.
Well, I mean, yeah, but still, like for something that everyone quotes all the time, like, oh, freedom of speech, First Amendment, look it up. It's like, what does it actually say? It's protection of like your speech from government.
Yeah,
That's not protection from individual corporations from using their social media platform, for example.
because they didn't have it back then.
Well, yeah,
The
but
biggest fear of the founding fathers back then was just big government. You know, they
yeah,
couldn't,
not Twitter.
if they had known what we know now, they probably would have, taken that into consideration. I would have thought.
But at the same time, like Twitter, Facebook, they're not like publicly owned like utilities. They're not
Hmm.
like arms of the government. They are private corporations. Terms of service that you tick yes to every time you log in
Yeah,
grants them permission to like take you off their platform, and they don't have to give a reason. They usually do, but they don't have to.
yeah, but even then, it's like the weakest type of excuse, really, isn't it? As well.
I mean, it probably comes down to people not reading the First Amendment, which is easy as anything.
Yeah,
You could just Google it, and people not reading the terms of service. So when
yeah,
people talk about like, oh, I got kicked off of Twitter for saying something racist, freedom of speech, and I just think you probably can't read, mate.
yeah,
That's assume that the one thing that I come to with that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's a contract.
It is, yeah, yeah. But we live in a world now where people just don't want to read through like paragraphs of stuff, do they?
The First Amendment is literally just 3 lines.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of like the original terms of agreement, isn't it?
it's the first one. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I went down to like number 16 and I just started skimming
Yeah,
it after that." It's the first one. You don't have an excuse not to know
yeah,
what it says. It's like the Second Amendment talks about a well-organized militia.
yeah, Yeah.
No one talks about that when it comes to, oh, they're going to take away our guns. It's like,
Yeah, but
read what
and
it says.
yeah, and plus, they didn't have AR-15s back then, did they?
It's a well-organized militia, not a group of
Yobbos.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Just
I think I do agree with the um the movement to have a constitutional amendment for money in politics.
good one, good one.
That's a good one. It was proposed actually. I saw we just talked about him, Jimmy Carter. He proposed it actually. Saw an interview.
Hey, get in there. Go on, Jimmy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Anyway, just piece of trivia there.
Oh yeah. Um. So we sort of went off topic of satire. I just started to talk about politics, but
It's all relative. It's all
yeah.
good.
Well,
It's all
satire is
positive.
mainly politics.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was thinking though, I can't even think of a satire that punches down. Do you know what I mean? Can't really think of one off the top of my head. It always punches up, doesn't it?
Atlas Shrugged.
The Ayn Rand book.
Mm.
Maybe.
So mainly demonize like the working class, calls the working class looters. I guess
Yeah,
it depends on your perspective. Like, if you truly believe that the people of the working class are just leeches, then you wouldn't see that as punching down. If you believe that the people in the working class are more, well, that they're, the clues in the name, that they do all the work, you're going to
yeah,
see that as punching down.
yeah.
So, I don't know. Personally,
True.
my own politics, I'd say it is punching down.
Yeah, yeah.
Then again, I've only skimmed bits and pieces of it. I haven't actually read it.
I don't know. I mean, there is a film adaptation of one of Ayn Rand's books, The Fountainhead, which is about um Gary Cooper plays an architect who blows up his own building because they changed his designs and the whole argument of the film is that it's my creation. I made it, so I have the right to destroy it. That type of thing. So yeah,
Okay.
it's an interesting film. But yeah, like a um uh Steve Ditko, the co-creator of Spider-Man, was a follower of Ayn Rand, and that's present in like some of his strips. Because there's one comic strip where Spider-Man sees like protesters, and Steve Ditko like just says like, "Oh, what a bunch of losers," or something like that. It's like Spider-Man who's like 16, but with the voice of like a 45-year-old man. And then Stan Lee's just like, "Hey, Steve, we've got to change this," and he's like, "Why?" It's that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
Tell me who you vote for without telling me who you vote for.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just funny. It's just funny. The thought of Spider-Man just looking at a bunch of like, I don't remember if it was like Vietnam or civil rights or it. I don't. It didn't really say, but you could tell that's what it was about. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And then it's just like a speech bubble. It's just like, damn hippies. Gee, Spider-Man. Tell me how you really feel. Vote Nixon.
Oh, well, I think we covered pretty well a lot of what we're trying to say here, and I will probably talk about it for a whole lot longer, but I think probably time to wrap this episode up. Well, unless you have anything else to add, or
No, no. I think we've waxed lyrical enough enough as it is. I mean, we've literally just talked about the political affiliations of Peter Parker. So
uh, well, anyway, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your time and some good insight on satire and that.
My pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Jeff, about films.
Likewise. And to everyone listening, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.